Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, alone, way from home, from home. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child alone way.
Okay. There we go. Wow. How did that even happen? That never happens. Like, there was no reason for this thing to actually be muted at all. Like, at all. That is super trash, bruh. What's going on, Raul? Oh my gosh. I was dropping gems, boy. Oh man. Oh well, it's okay. I said hi to you like a long time ago. I didn't know they didn't have any mic juice. Um, so okay. Okay, so Raul, I'm going to repeat like everything that I said before. I'm doing all right, man. Actually doing super well. What you're seeing right now is Elise going through the subworld. So here's my predicament, and this is why I was kind of confused. I was like, man, I asked him, what he thought about this. He hadn't responded. So, my predicament is this. My predicament is keep playing. But my predicament is that I don't know. Nope, not today. When the playback, we'll have like one half of it be chill, then the other half would be just me talking and rambling or whatever, So you're all welcome for that, truly. Anyway, so okay, check it out. So this is the subworld, right? So you can see all this stuff going on in the background and everything, and you can see Elise battling with temptations. Temptations are yellow, and this is blackout drunkenness, for example. So she gets tempted to get like blackout drunk from time to time, so she has to fight those kind of things, in her subworld and everything. So this is just, me. I like grinding in RPGs, so I was just kind of thinking that, it would be cool instead of just kind of grinding for the sake of grinding, to actually have some character revelations as you're grinding, because I love grinding. I just don't like grinding, in a dungeon by running into the same enemies over and over and over again, right? So I was kind of thinking that, maybe I should put this in the subworld to where the player can go ahead and grind and get stuff and explore themselves and things like that, rather than just kind of, running back and forth in a dungeon you've already been before, right? So that's my reasoning behind it. But at the same time, though, Persona series actually does this thing where, they mix up the gameplay enough to where none of the elements kind of get old, So daytime, you're doing social links and things like that. Nighttime, you're doing the combat and stuff like that. So, and I was seeing a guy that, so even some people that actually don't like turn-based RPGs still like and will play Persona. So I'm not trying to be like Persona and saying that, I want to make this a bunch of social links or whatever, but I am saying that there may be an opportunity I'm missing to switch up the gameplay a lot. But then again, I also have switched up the gameplay in terms of the rap battles and like the entrepreneurship that you have in spending money and things like that, because you don't get a whole lot of money for the hides of your enemies and things like that. You get more money for actually investing and having your money double over and things like that. So I was like, so those are elements of the game, that switch up the gameplay and everything, but, should I extend that to this? I'm not quite sure. So that's why I was kind of asking about that. Also, I bought Black Zero. Once I sit down and play, I will review. Yes! That would give me 5 reviews, and that would be really, really good, dude. That would help me out a bunch. But anyway, what do you think about that, Raul? Because, I don't know. Or maybe there's some kind of gameplay element that I'm missing in exploring the subworld that, maybe some choices within combat, or I don't know. But I am interested in what it is that you have to say. Like Persona, I couldn't get into that much because it was so different. You know, yeah, that's always true. I'm not necessarily talking about making the game like Persona. I am more talking about, you know, the gameplay being switched up enough to where it's not, you know, tedious or whatever, you know. That's more what I'm talking about. Waiting to water. So I might leave it the way that it is, simply because I don't know what to quite. I don't know if I can make the game better necessarily through doing it that kind of way. That's what I'm thinking. And this doesn't have any doggone it, Justin. Ugh. I'm catching all these inconsistencies in terms of me making my monsters and things like that. Or Stan Lee says, monsters. Excelsior! Like, Stan, I love your face so much. Alright. You are the afraid of men. Alright. Where's the blue person that I put here? I thought I just put a blue person here. I thought I just put a blue person here. Okay, there it is. All right. Bro. Okay, let's find men. Where's men at? Men's. Big men's. He's afraid of big men's. Alright. Okay, so what you got going on? But when it comes to player agency, given the player options that are integrated with the game's theme and core mechanics, and get dynamic respices of the gameplay. Also, there's a slight lag between me typing and sending. Oh, I know that. And you receiving it, at least from what I can tell on your screen. So if you ask me a question and it takes a while, it's because I'm either responding. Okay, yeah, I got that. Loving your background art, by the way. Each of those maps, hand drawn and stylized, visual shows some good character and aesthetics. Yeah, so I just want to kind of tell a story without necessarily, you know, telling a story as you're going through this stuff. And someone hit me up on the Watch Me Work network. So we have Pedro Raskin, whose video is unavailable. Oh, that's just rock and roll right there. Sometimes that happens. It really confuses me. I'm like, what the heck's going on? Okay. I'll go ahead and put one right here. And I guess we'll put one. Doesn't have a lot of fears. Otherwise, she wouldn't be doing all this crazy stuff. So player agency was something I was talking about when my mic was off. So so I was saying that this game would probably piss off less people than Black Simulator or will. But then I started thinking about it, I was kind of like, that might not be true. Because this is going to piss off a lot of people in terms of, religious people. Because, it's not very nice. It does not very nice things. And because it does not very nice things, then that means it can't be, what I'm saying that it actually is, which is a Christian game. Because it's not very nice. Because all Christendom is pinned on manners. I mean, consideration, yes, but manners is what it's all about. So I remember at CDGCs, this is event that I usually go to in Oregon, and there's a little bit of oh yeah, dude, this is Black Simulator has already gotten a little bit of this is why I haven't pushed it out yet. That's why I'm saying I'm on reviews on Black Simulator, because I needed to be some cushioning for that. Because what happens is that people just look at the title, and because everyone's all sensitive towards, the blackening, I'm gonna call it the blackening, because everyone's, so very sensitive to the blackening, they're thinking that I'm making this sob song or whatever, about, how tough it is to be black and everything, I'm just saying it's different. I just want to bring understanding because this is different. But people are thinking that automatically because of the title alone that I'm an SJW, I'm saying I'm trying to show the evils of white man and things like that, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm just showing this is just different, because my thing is that, I show also as, as being black, you also get the same bull crap for not being black enough. And usually we get associated with being black enough by, from when I was in school, if you don't speak proper English, then that means that, that means you're black. And if you don't, and if you do speak proper English, that means that, you're not black, you're trying to be bougie and things like that. Or if you're not angry enough, then that means that, hey, well, you're not really black either, you ain't down for the cause. And it's kind of like, what type of stupidity is this? So I show all sides of it, I just showing the overall experience, what I'm saying? But people think that I'm automatically trying to, demonize white people or something stupid like that. I'm just like, no, sorry, I'm not the one. This is not the Matrix, I'm not the one. So, what I was saying was that I think that I was thinking that this game is going to piss less people off. But now I thought about this kind of debate that I had with somebody, and he was upset that because of player agency, you do a very nice you don't do a very nice thing at the beginning of the game. So I won't spoil that for you, but you do a very non-nice thing at the beginning of this game, just as my Christian epic, right? And the guy was saying that, I didn't want to do that, and I was like, TS, no. But no, I didn't want to do that awful thing. And, I began to say that, well, the Bible's not really a rated G book, too. He said he understood that, but because of player agency, he didn't want that. So, I began to kind of think about it, because I can understand what he's saying also. Because, like, when I play Metal Gear these days, post me being saved, I don't murder anybody. Like, nobody. Like, I'm sitting there with a tranquilizer the entire time, and I just find a way to disarm them. But I don't kill anybody in Metal Gear Solid anymore. Now, when I was a kid, when I was, playing Metal Gear, everybody getting murked. Everybody. Like, be a graveyard. But now I'm not saying that, you should play Metal Gear that way because you're a Christian. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that, that's just a personal thing that happened to me. So I'm not saying for you to mimic that, because some people can sit there and listen to horrible hip-hop music, what I'm saying? And I can't do that anymore. But also, and I can watch horrible videos, with language and things like that, and that same person will not be able to watch some of the things that I actually watch, so yeah, it's that personal conviction kind of thing where God's saying that, okay, this person's going to handle this, but you can't, So anyway, so I get what he's saying about, that kind of, player having a problem with player agency doing horrible things, right? And you can make the case that what was in the Bible, violent stuff is in the Bible also, but it's like But it's like, well, do I want to do those horrible things in the Bible? You know, you know, let's have a game where you play as Gomer. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I really want to play that game? You know, so. But I think the overall argument for that kind of thing is, is it okay for you to say that I don't want that in my spirit, right? I don't want that around me. And I think so, but at the same time too, you know, those parts of the Bible that we're reading about, you know, that's not always a nice book, you know. So I make fun of this all the time, but you know, people are talking about, you know, hey, Noah get the little cute little animals on the boat, you know, and they all whisked away on the ark and everything. It's like that story is about the apocalypse, the first apocalypse before the second one comes. But that's what that is about. The apocalypse. Everybody died. Everything died. It all perished. Okay? So, to do that to, you know what I'm saying, a story like that, it's just not very nice stuff in there, right? It really isn't. So to say that, you know, I don't want that in my spirit, okay, why do you not want that in your spirit? Now, because then you have to throw out, like, you know, like a decent chunk of the Bible then. But I'm thinking that I understand about nihilism, where you're putting stuff and content in a game to where there is no hope or whatever. I understand that, but I don't understand, you know, doing something on the lines of, you know, saying that, you know, well, I don't want that in my spirit, you know, when it's like, well, isn't there hope in this story? Isn't there? What's the overall narrative, you know? So there's a moment that Elise has in the game. And if you are not bold enough to explore her in her entirety, that moment doesn't mean what it could mean at all. You being a player and going through her actions and going with her on that journey is what's the most important thing in that game. So it's like, I get that a person doesn't want particular things in their spirit, and I agree with them in terms of, you know, just being hopelessness, nihilism, and things like that. I get that part. But you have to, I think, understand the context of the gospel. And I think the context of the gospel is about overcoming. You know? It's not the message of the gospel, but it is the essence of it. It is the essence of overcoming, of saying that, you know, he overcame the grave. Sin, and he overcomes those things, you know, and he uses the word overcoming. Despite there being impossible odds, God still overcomes and finds a way, even through his own word, to reconcile man back to himself. Despite impossible odds, even against the own creator. You know? It's like, how does one decree through his word that he does not go back on, because it establishes law and universe and everything else? How does a God take man who has disobeyed him, who he said that if you do this, you will surely die? And how does he take that man who is now separated from him forever, based on his own word, and based on the fact that he gave mankind complete and total agency over the earth? He's like, this is yours now. This is why he didn't intervene in the garden when the serpent showed up. That's why he didn't intervene. It's because I gave it over to you. It is yours. Do what you will with it. Just don't do this one thing. And that's suggested. But God, at that point, and at this point, has to have invitation. That's what prayer is. It's invitation for the Holy Spirit to be invited to the earth in order to do what he wants to do. Because that the weakness of him is the fact that he said, I gave it over to you, which is why he didn't intervene and said that here's the ground rules. Just don't do this one thing. not suggested. But you can do that stupid thing. And we're still in that same position today. So how can he actually find a way to reconcile man back to himself? Because he can't come down to the earth like that without the invitation. So what is he going to do? And the only person that can has dominion over the earth is a spirit inside of a dirt body. That's what a man is, humus. It's a spirit inside of a dirt body. So how can he figure this? So how does he figure this out? And then you see the revelation of Christ, and that he put himself inside of a man, inside of a dirt body, to intervene, to have agency within the earth, and to work alongside with his own word, and became the word. You know what I'm saying? The word is given flesh, in order to bring that whole thing and reconcile man back to himself while using his own word to work around what was already decreed. It's an incredible thing. It's just an incredible thing. So when I look at the gospel, I look at the overcoming of these things. You know? I look at the overcoming. So if Elise is not overcoming, and if God in the game is not overcoming her vitriol, her vengeance, her all those type of things, then what's the point? It's just another story that anybody else can make. Unless we know the depths in which God can actually go to actually, bring someone out of something. So as a player, wouldn't it be amazing to actually, go through some drama with a character like that, and understand that this is about God overcoming. And that's what the game's about. It's about showing this other side of God and showing these other parts of God, and him overcoming. So it's like, I think that putting those violent things in the game and everything, makes a lot more sense. And this is why I think I haven't gotten a rebuke about those things. Because I'm trying to be very, very careful and be very, very sensitive to the Holy Spirit. Like, there are things that I try to be very sensitive about that and be like, okay, I need to make sure that I am being sensitive, putting what's in there, and leaving out what's not supposed to be in there, what's not in there. I need to be very, very sensitive to that, and I really, really am. I'm extremely careful with that. And at the same time, though, I understand that that sometimes God will surprise me and be like, oh yeah, put that in there, or leave this in there. I'm like, what, really? It's like, I haven't gotten really type of rebuke about that beginning scene, which I will not be going into detail about, because spoilers. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with player agency. What is the point? Because that's my thing about it. If you're going to put violence in something, what is the point of there being violence in there? What's the point of that? If you're going to put violence in a Christian game, why? Is it going to turn into something beautiful? And I like it when God turns something that's very, very ugly and turns into something really, really beautiful. It's kind of what he does. So that's the part that's going on to make a lot of people mad, I think, when I release this game release. But I think there needs to be some understanding as to, where we're going with that. Why is that in there? Why is there violence in there? Why is there this horrible scene in there? I don't mind that, as long as it's some kind of reconciliation. Like, if you guys ever seen the movie Bad Lieutenant, Bad Lieutenant is truly a bad lieutenant. He does some very, very unsavory things. Like, very unsavory things. To the point where it's like, bruh, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, takes advantage of. He's a cop. He takes advantage of, you know, of women. He does a lot of just horrible things. And there's this scene where he's trying to understand this nun who forgives these two boys that rape her. He's trying to like figure that out, and he's like, you don't have to forgive. Come on, lady. Like, these guys are scum. They should be locked up. They should be killed. All this stuff, right? And he's like, you don't have to sit there and be playing the pious nun, you know, your whole life. And so he can't figure that out. And so he confronts her about that, you know, and she leaves. And while they're at the church, and there's this scene, and you actually watch it on YouTube, where like the guy sees, like, he's kind of tripping, right? But he sees Jesus and immediately curses him out and screams at him, "Where were you?" Just screams at him, you know, and then like immediately after he gets all that out of his system, he starts, you know, repenting, saying, "I'm sorry, like, I need you to help me." He's on his knees crawling towards Christ and everything, you know. And God receives him, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, this really, I thought that was really, really beautiful. That was such an honest repentance that I'm just kind of like, that made watching this guy do all this horrible stuff, that moment right there made it all worth it. If he hadn't have done those things, I wouldn't have seen something that beautiful. I wouldn't have seen the power of Christ, you know what I'm saying? That he take that guy and reconcile him back to himself. You know? And there really is a real repentance and a real change in the guy, you know? It's towards like the last maybe 5 minutes of the movie. But it's incredible. I'm like, this right here is a Christian movie. If I were to call it that, you know, it's mature, but yeah, so is the doggone world. Stop tripping. Blows my mind. It's called Bad Lieutenant. Bad Lieutenant. But it's just this crazy scene. I'm just like, oh my god, that's just makes me tear up when I watch it. I'm just kind of like, wow, wow. So, and a bunch of crazy things happen after that scene too. It's just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's beautiful though. So when I saw that, I was like, okay. I know what I need to do. But I wasn't even taking that necessarily, you know, using it as like the using that as like the main thing to inspire me, you know. It's just like a moment that I saw that I just kind of kept in the back of my mind, you know. So that might mean grandparents mean generations, and depending on the context of that dream, it may be either talking about a blessing or a curse. I'm not quite sure. Had to get back at you on that one. But you need to pray on that for Shizi. But yeah, so that's the movie. What's it called? So that's just something I kind of kept in mind. But I hope Abby is all right. Might be ending here pretty soon. I need to get to my readings and my other things that I gotta do throughout the day. Trying to find a purple. Oh, you're fine. I was just letting you know, Negro. No. I had to take a look at that, cause my thing is that yeah, my thing is that, you know, people dream things, you know, and the dreams actually mean something. And sometimes we sleep on those. No pun intended. Ah! But sometimes those dreams actually means a few things, and yeah, we can sleep on them. We can sleep on those dreams. I would recommend if she's having, I know that every once in a while it's a bad dream. That's probably going to happen, you know. But sometimes, you know, they can actually mean something, and you might want to figure out what that message is. So I'll look at the Biblical Dream app on your phone, look that up, and look up what the elements of those dreams actually means, because that could be really, really important. There's a guy, I actually know a few people who've experienced, like, I'm not saying this is a warning dream for you at all. I don't think that that's what's going on at all. But there's a guy that I knew that, actually a few people have had warning dreams where, you probably have had a warning dream before too, where it's like, you know, one thing's happening, it's like, oh, well, everything's all good, right? You had this dream, so a specific series of things happens, and they don't think anything about it. And then the exact thing that was happening in the dreams happens to them in real life, and it was a warning, and, you know, they didn't really pay attention to it. So there's one that was a little bit more humorous, where one of my friends, she had a dream that she got a ticket at a certain highway or whatever, you know, because she was speeding. And then next day, she was on the same highway and she was speeding and she got a ticket. It's a warning dream. One of the ones that were a little more serious, though, was my buddy. He was part of an abusive relationship, and he had this dream where his girlfriend took him to the edge of the steps, I think at her house or whatever, you know, and kicked him down the steps. That's a dream. So he gets up. She gives him a call. Basically, she winds up at his house, and she kicks him down the steps. So, you know, dreams mean things. It's just that we blow it off a lot of times, you know, and we probably shouldn't. So I would look at that dream app on the Google Play Store. Been a very, very handy tool for me in terms of interpreting dreams and things like that. So yeah. And she sure did. She kicked my homeboy right down the steps, bruh. Yep. And I remember that people are gonna listen to this stream and be like, "What the heck is he talking about?" But sorry, Western civilization has not figured out all mysteries in the universe. Don't be so arrogant. But I remember like that same guy had I looked in the spirit. That guy had like a horn in, I think it was his left ear, and he had hearing loss in that ear. And I was trying to figure out what that was, but that was all the abusive things that she had said over him. So when I cursed that and I told him to repent from that, you know, and speak life to himself and everything, like when he did that a couple of times, you know, during that night, I think it's like 80% or 90% of his hearing came back, just like that. So there's weird stuff out there, y'all. All it is that you know is not all there is to know. Again, Western culture, civilization, don't be so arrogant. You know, I understand that there's an enlightenment. I understand all those things, you know, and that there's been a lot of benefit from that in terms of, you know, actually getting down to the practical things and the hard science of things and stuff like that. But getting to those things does not dismiss the metaphysical, though. And I'm not going to call other cultures ignorant who still believe in those things, because you done figured it all out. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. Well, that's just there's examples of things that, and there's examples of things where, you know, absolutely, where, you know, a placebo effect, or someone who cognition in terms of, you know, talking about things and, you know, what you believe, and can actually make you sick and things like that. All that's very, very true, very, very relevant, etc., etc. Yes, there's other experiences in terms of spirituality also that are outside of Christianity, that actually do a lot of seemingly good, or people who interact with spirits or whatever it is that they're saying. Those things are outside Christianity also. I get that too. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about, which is specifically those examples, and those examples dealing with the God, the Bible. Because everyone has different gods. Everyone has different gods. Even in Christianity, people have different gods. Usually it's the religious God that a lot of people follow. The ones who are more liberated are the ones that actually follow Christ. And get to joining on all of the fun stuff. And the weird stuff too. Those are the ones with some power right there. Through the Holy Spirit. But like, there's always a question I think of, you know, which God is that God? What's the end game of that God? What's the eschatology of that God? You know? Like I've seen the eschatology of some gods where they are going to basically kill white people and torture them forever. Specifically white people, that's it. I've seen eschatologies where, and the thing about spirits is that spirits are always going to collect. They always come to collect. When a spirit interacts with you, this is a something that has intelligence that exists, that is not constructed the same way that a physical person is constructed. And if you interact with them, then they will at some point in time come to collect for that interaction. All of them do. Including God. Now, the cool thing of God is that He paid the bill for that collection through Christ. That is a deal. So, that's the difference, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a difference with that. But spirits will come to collect. Yes, they will. And a lot of them aren't going to be nice about it. A lot of them will seem like they're going to be nice about it, but they're not. But they will come to collect. So, that's just a little pro tip for you. Because I've seen them collect with some people. I've seen it. I've seen them collect on bad confessions. You saying things that you shouldn't be saying. They'll come to collect. You joking about things you shouldn't be joking about. They'll come to collect. You saying things to other people, or speaking things over your own family, they will come to collect. Yes, they will. I've seen it. I experienced it. Isn't that pretty and isn't that cute? So, again, dreams can mean something. Dreams can mean something. Pay attention to your dreams sometimes. Bad feelings. Some people's lives have been saved. I've got a bad feeling about getting on that plane. And then problems with that plane. Plane crashed. A whole lot of people died, or everyone died, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I've heard that story plenty of times. Or that, you know, they shouldn't have gone, because if they were gone during this time, you know, they wouldn't have been able to get to another loved one. It's like, I shouldn't go on this trip. Something's, I feel something off. You know? All kinds of weird things are out there, man. Well, let's not be so cocky in Western culture. But I do agree though too that in some places, like some places, bruh, there needs to be a little bit of enlightenment because everything's religious or everything's, you know, tied to a spirit. Like, no, not everything's tied to a spirit. Sometimes you're just an idiot. Sometimes you're just dumb and you need to quit. It's like, stop it. Get some help. Oh boy. Let's see what we got here. Sorry, not sorry for going on a tangent about that, but whatever. Okay. Okay, this should be correct. Strong. Yep. There we go. You never see it coming. All right. We're just about there, the promised land. Somebody really like, this is a weird podcast today, or weird live stream today. Yes, it is. I just look forward to pissing you guys off. No, I'm not pissing everyone off. Not really of that. Some people will appreciate the honest discord of these things. But I understand I am an acquired taste. Okay, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. So, I need to move to your time zone or get up at 5 a.m. Hey, Scott Jacobson! What's going on, Scott Jacobson? I had several dreams in the past that had served as heads up or a confirmation of choice I needed to make. Yeah, dude, dreams let you know. Don't sleep on your dreams. Get that Bible dream interpretation app. I'm telling you. You'd be like, oh, God was trying to tell me some important stuff. It's like, I know. Right? Scott, I might move this stream up to, you're welcome. But, I might need to move the stream up to 9 o'clock because I'm actually thinking about you and I really like you on the show. So, you know, usually when I'm like about to head out is usually when you pop up. Yeah. And Scott, it was funny too. I was talking about all this stuff, you know, earlier. And like, so like in my stream this time around, I don't have any audio going at all because, on my mic, because I thought that it was on and just, sometimes OBS, sometimes I don't know. My setup just doesn't like it when I do things outside of what it's comfortable with. I don't know why it happens that way, but it just freaks out. So it just cut off my mic, and for some reason, because I'm black, I don't know. And like, just totally just But I would say nothing for the first like half of the stream. So, yeah, this is kind of boo boo, just kind of boo boo. So, oh yeah, Scott. So, Raul was mentioning this earlier. So I was thinking about maybe diversifying the gameplay up a little bit in these in the mind area right here. So this is where you're at. You're at the Bronx, and the Bronx is basically where you're grinding in this part of the game. But I wanted the grinding to be more interesting, to where you're finding out things about the character, you know, what the temptations are, what the struggles are, and you're fighting those enemies, you know, alongside, you know, those lines. Now, I wanted to diversify the gameplay, and I've already done that through doing the rap battles, through doing economic business with, you know, your about how to buy items. I didn't want it to be a thing where you just kind of drop a bunch of coin because you got some animal hide. Like, I wanted it to be a thing where you had to invest, you know, to get different weapons, different armors and things like that. Because I don't know, it's just kind of too easy to just, you know, hey, I bought this. Like in Suikoden, you can trade things and get a lot more money that way by just kind of doing business, you know. So there's that element of it, and there's some social stuff too in terms of, you know, talking to your different characters after you're done a mission, and building up your orphanage and things like that. So there's all kind of little neat things in there, right? But like, I was thinking about this area right here being different, rather than just going up and fighting these temptations and things like that. And even though you are discovering and you're getting points towards unlocking different parts of the character's subconscious and everything, you know, which is fun, but like, should it only be just fighting a bunch of monsters, you know? Because again, I like grinding in RPGs, right? But I'm noticing that certain people like RPGs, turn-based RPGs, they can stomach them if like the whole game is not just, you know, turn-based RPG stuff. So I'm wondering if I'm missing an opportunity here to do something unique in a unique setting, like being in the player's in the character's subconscious like this. So Scott, what do you think? What do you stank? And I know there's going to be some lag behind, so, you know, I'm going to go ahead and wait for you. Negro! I like calling things Negroes. I thought this guy was supposed to be a Christian, and he used the N-word, the Negro word. I don't understand that at all. And the pickles. And the pickles. Yeah. I hate it when your nose hair touches your mustache and it gives you that awful like tingling feeling. It's definitely not tremendous. Definitely not tremendous. Oh boy. Yeah, it was great. I could really enjoy hearing, yeah, watching you work. Watching me twerk? That's not appropriate, Raul. Gosh, watching me twerk. You should be encouraging me not to twerk on people. Same, bruh. But yes, it's been awesome having you around, Raul. Legit. Love your face, and I'll see you in the remix. I might still be yammering on, but I'm trying to bounce up out of here after Scott's done with his 2 cents. If he wants to add 2 cents, I don't know. So got a lot of good work done today. Almost finished this whole thing out. Tutor number 2. I read what I want to read, okay? That's how things work these days, alright? You don't actually read what's actually saying. You read between the lines about what you think someone's saying. And you go with that. So you can be outraged about something. Outraged! Alright. And we'll save that for a see here. So while others love the crap out of them as a teacher, I have to grade them and only have about 5 minutes each, so battles have come. Oh man. That's funny. Okay, so, well, this is good though. This is good though because you have a unique perspective about you seeing so many battle scenes. Like, what would you rather see? Especially as a believer. And again, you have to go back and listen to what I was talking about earlier, Scott. Because I talk about, you know, there not being very nice things in games or whatever, you know, or especially people equate Christianity to having nice manners. So that's what I'm saying. As a believer, you know what I'm saying, what would you want to see in a game in the context of not there being nice things they needed? Let's just sit down and talk about it. Even though God told David to go to war with things that were in tribes that were being unjust, like killing children, and sacrificing them to their gods. So yeah, and again, this is in the oral tradition, you know what I'm saying, not necessarily written in the Bible, but if you look at the oral tradition, what the Jews were saying, that's what was actually happening historically, which is why God was like, get them. So, God is not having an aversion towards battle. It is not made to be as necessary as it used to be. Because now we can, like, go behind the scenes and battle against the principalities and the powers of the air. We don't have to battle a person anymore. We can battle a entity now through Christ. Wisely, of course, with other people. So, it's just kind of an obsolete kind of thing sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So what would you rather see in that context of, you know, that kind of battle aversion? Okay. I know Persona does a lot with they do that through social links. But sometimes I think about, like, I would do more of that kind of stuff, you know, maybe, but like I want the game to be a little bit more organic, rather than going through the same beats over and over again, you know. I don't know. I want you to experience the game differently every time. Or slightly differently every time, you know, in terms of options to speak on and things like that. Because I do have things like town building, rap battles, business, and some social things in there. So I wonder if like this whole grinding dungeon thing is too much. That's what I'm wondering right now. So, but anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up here because I've been here for a while now, really. So thank you guys so much for joining me, Raul and Scott Jacobson. Woo! Thank you again so much for the review on Black Simulator, Scott. I really super appreciate that. But you can find me in the links in the description below to support the projects that I have done and I'm doing. So this is my most current one right here in terms of me working on stuff. And I have a Patreon for this particular game too because it's a bigger kind of project. And I've also released a game called Black Simulator on the Steam store. So if you type in Black Simulator on Steam, then you will be able to buy that for a whopping $2. It's a small mini game, not a big game. So then, and other subsequent releases will be released. So I need to make a Mac version and Android version, iOS version, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know. And there's going to be merchandise too in terms of Black Simulator t-shirts and things like that. So that is all Gucci as well. So anyway, guys, I will catch you guys in the remix. Thanks again, Scott and Raul, for stopping by. It's been a lot of fun actually talking to people. And I'll be sure to check my audio next time, so a bunch of dumbness won't happen like it did this time around. Pretty whack. So, anyways, guys, until next time, I'll catch you in the remix, and bye-bye. Loves.